Bonjour and welcome back. My name is Austin and I read another book. Surprise, surprise, I read another book. Um, today I finished The Wicked Bargain by Gabe Cole Navoya. I should hold it higher. Oh, this is really big. Why is this so big? Anyways, in book club we did this thing where we chose a book for someone else to read. This book was chosen for me. I'm hiding this because it says something on it. Woo! Let's get into it. It was really good, so I can't wait to talk about it. So this book follows a trans, non-binary character. Ooh, I wonder who it is. Who's a pirate in the 1820s, and yeah, and they possess magic. Surprise, surprise, people don't like magic, because that's the basis of all stories. Why not? And then on his 16th birthday, you can get the pronouns wrong every time. On their 16th birthday, they learned that their father made a deal with El Diablo, which I think is just El Diablo, or is that the... There's a bit of Spanish in this book, and I learned French, not Spanish, so I didn't fully understand some, because there was a surprisingly large amount, which, like, go the author, love that. I didn't understand what they were saying, but the author wouldn't put in anything super relevant, anything plot relevant into that. But yeah, so it follows them as their father and the whole crew of their ship is killed by El Diablo, and they have to find a way to save their father from the grasps, the cusp, no, I think I was going with grasp, the grasp of El Diablo. Along the way, they end up on a ally kind of ship where they meet a boy. Oh, I don't remember his name. I just finished this. It's Sebastian. They meet a cute boy. Of course, this is the 1820s. Yeah, this is the 1820s. You know, people don't appreciate the queer lifestyle. So they have to hide the gender identity. Luckily, they pass as a boy, and they're happier being called boy than girl, so they kind of stick with that. That's why I mess up the pronouns, by the way, is because they are consistently referred to as with he, him pronouns and stuff, so it's like, it gets hard talking about the main character sometimes, because you obviously want to use the right pronouns, but, yeah, so that's what the story is generally about. I thought the main character was, I should hold it up more. I thought the main character was very intriguing and well written. I didn't find them too, like, annoying in, you know, the YA protagonist way, because this is YA, spoiler alert. I didn't find them the usual way where, like, the protagonist is just really dumb and, like, I wouldn't say emotional, because this character is very emotional, but it's like, it's good shit. So it's just, it felt a bit different. The character felt different, which was great. I really liked the relationship between Mar and Bass. I don't know if I mentioned that the main character's name was Mar, but it is. The enemies to lovers there was, I guess it's closer to rivals to lovers. It was really good. I really enjoyed it, and praise the Lord, it was slow burn. I cannot not deal with not slow burn romance. I hate oh my god, I hate romance, period. But slow burn, I can do slow burn. I like it. I really like it. So thankfully it was slow burn in here. I know lots of people don't, so warning, but I love it, so it doesn't matter. So Bass and Mar are essentially the main characters. No one else is super relevant. I'm remembering now lots of interactions that happened earlier, but the second half of the book is much more memorable. Surprise, surprise. It's the second half, usually it is. So, there's also a character, Dami. I'm trying to remember when they appear. Oh, relatively early on ish. I'm I don't know. I don't. There's a character named Dami. I won't go too much into them, but they're a gender fluid demonio. I believe that's what they were called. Oh, let me make sure I'm saying that right. It's not in the description. Okay. It was like, okay, kind of cunty. I love Dami. A very fun character. Characters in this were just generally enjoyable and really likable, especially the main ones. They were all flawed, but enjoyable. Like, none of them felt perfect or Mary Sue or anything like that. The personalities meshed well. It created it was very fun. Very good interactions. Lots of just fun seafaring, you know, which I really enjoyed. It's so hard to find that, and then like have it be good, even if it has a focus on romance. I put my feud aside to read it, and I'm not disappointed. I don't know the last book I read. I believe, not including the poetry, it was temporary. But and then some manga and graphic novels, mostly Wit Chat Atelier and Mooncakes. So I've been like reading, but not actual novels. Most of them I've DNF'd. Two of which are sitting right here. I will be talking about those at a later date. So it was great to find a book that was enjoyable and very accessible writing. Well, I mean, except for the parts I read in Spanish, but the writing was not super flowery, which I think I needed, because I've had so much of a focus on flowery writing in the past, and this very dense, because of course, I've been trying to move away from nonfiction. I had a huge, like, 5 books where all I read was nonfiction, and this was during, like, a time where I wasn't reading much, so it's like, over the course of 3 months, I read, like, 5 nonfiction titles. Could not pick up another book for the life of me, so it's great to, I mean, I was moving there already with some other books, but it's great to move closer to this fantasy again. It's great to be back. I started another book, the one that's missing right here, which I know it's gonna be super flowery in its prose. We'll see, but it likely is. So this is great, kind of cool down, just fun romp. I don't know what else to say before I get into spoilers. Is there anything else to say? No, it was very good. I probably should have thought of some complaints before starting this video, because now I feel bad not, well, I don't feel bad not saying anything bad, but I feel like I should have some improvements for this book. I do feel, I'm trying to remember some of the stuff that happens, because like, oh, I don't want to say there's moments that are repetitive, but also kind of. I found, like, I'm remembering the second half of the book, and there are kind of moments that are just sort of repeating a lot. Don't want to get too much into that right now, because that's obviously spoiler territory. But there are moments that are just a bit repetitive in the way the characters interact. But that wasn't too much of a problem. It's more of like a hindsight thing rather than like as I was reading, I was like, again. Um, I really don't have anything bad to say about it. It I mean, it was a 5-star read, but once again, that means nothing to me. All my books are 5-star reads if I finish them, basically. So it's like, oh, this isn't, um, it's not uncommon for me to have nothing bad to say, but it not be a favorite. Howl's Moving Castle is another one I read. I have no complaints about the book, but it's probably in the bottom half of books I've read anyways. I'd have to like look over my list because there's a lot of fucking books, but generally speaking, it didn't even come near my top 10 when I read it. And when I read it, I had like 30 books in my repertoire, so that weren't graphic novels from my past. So it's like, ultimately, it was very good, very accessible writing. Characters were intriguing enough, they were flawed, but not annoying or just kind of useless. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to read this, because I wouldn't have picked it up if it wasn't for the librarian just being like, read it. So I'm glad I did, and it's great to read more perspectives. You know, it's been so long since I've read historical fiction, which is a genre I enjoy, but it's hard to get into because it tends to be very dense, very it's historical fiction, so it's history heavy, of course, which makes it just a bit harder and less accessible. So it's great to get back into it. So slay. God, my throat is my throat was killing me a little bit. We just had like a huge thing of smoke come in over the weekend, so my throat's trying to deal with that. Let's talk about the spoilers of this book, because, well, if you've read this book, you might want to hear my opinions, my actual opinions, not incredibly vague nothingness. So obviously, the main character, as I said, very interesting. When I mentioned that there's a bit of repetitiveness in this, in the second half, there's a lot of like, one that has an emotional outburst, runs away, and then a problem happens. And then again, I think it happens like 3 times, and it's like, it might have only happened twice, but it's because it happens with Bass, and then it happens with Mar. I think it happens with Mar again. And and I like, once again, looking back, I was like, could we have done a little different? But it ultimately wasn't that big of a deal. It was kind of mixed up enough, but once again, like, just the second half is all about these emotions, and it's like this takes place over the course of like 2 days, and it's like, wow. Wow. El Diablo being the leader of this Spanish army, I thought was really funny, because it didn't even occur to me when all the soldiers showed up, and then Mara was like, he's Garcia. Oh, good lord. And I was like, who? It might have been the person that they like tortured for information, I think, because it might not have been. I don't know, guys. I wasn't fully paying attention to some of the names, and then I got really screwed up near the end when they kept mentioning names. I thought it was kind of funny that he was like the leader of the Spaniards, and then it's like they didn't do anything. It's like, oh, and you know what? The build up, it kind of makes sense why all the Spaniards weren't like in the prison, or why Dami called in the Spaniards. You know, the blonde man was probably El Diablo. Whoa, whoa. So I thought that was, looking back, it's good foreshadowing, but I wasn't thinking about that. I just thought it was kind of funny, and then the fight scene that happens, in my mind, I was trying to, like, it was trying to play out in my mind, and it kind of just felt like they were just making moves at each other, like they take turns, like one would go for the other, and then like stop and wait for their retaliation. I don't know if that's how it really worked, but in my, well, obviously it isn't, but in my mind, that's all that happened. It was like one would do something, there'd be like a pause, and the other would, and it was like, it felt a little disjointed there, but like the scene where Mara like pulls up the lava and it's like makes it like a very mini volcano was really cool, and I thought it was a great way to show how they mastered their emotions. Like they're fighting for people they love now, so it makes sense. And well, I mean, technically the first time, it's like it shows a growth and maturity and like the representation of like a control of emotions. I thought was pretty great. I thought that was a great idea. Why did the bones survive? In my mind, that didn't happen. The bones didn't get swept out to sea, because how did the bones survive? I know El Diablo's no mortal, but if everything else melted, his bones should have too. Like, what? What else? Lord. The really, oof. Bass and Mar, I thought were really cute together. I was expecting at some point for Mar to realize, or not realize, to reveal to Bass that they were non-binary, and they didn't, like, ever. It probably happens in the well, there isn't prologue, but probably happens after, but like, you just kissed this man, first off, and it's like, if you're going to be with these people, you know, especially ones that you know are likely to accept your identity, at least tell your boyfriend or the man you're in love with. And like, it's not that big of a deal, but I was just kind of like, you're just gonna live forever presenting as a man? Is that what you want? Because I don't think it is. But they don't really show anything like that. It's just like, I want my chest to be flat. So I want to know, like, I wanted to see the reveal, but I wanted to see, because obviously Bass would have been like, I know, or something like that, but I would have liked something to reveal that they were like trans or non-binary, or at least something. I would like a little bit of that fluff of them being like, it's okay, I love you, it doesn't matter, that's actually slay, and then be like, yay, I'm a guy for fluff, and I think that would have been really cute. And I guess no, I don't question their future. They'll stay together no matter what. It's just, I wanted to see that. Maybe it does happen, and I missed it, but I didn't. So, the dad came back. Go him, not an absent father. Oh, that's not slay. I don't know what else there is to say. I thought overall it was a good book. No complaints. It's not particularly memorable, but it was an enjoyable read. And I have another book of theirs on my want to read that I didn't know was by them until one day I was like, oh, what else does this author put out? And it's like Most Ardently, and it's like, I want to read that. Like, that's so slay. This book technically has like an indirect sequel that focuses on Dami. Every time I say Dami, all I think is Dami Mommy. Who's that? It might have been Dammy, but I think Dami. Dami sounds better. But I don't know if I'm too interested in that one. I don't think, I mean, I wouldn't have picked up this one, but still, I don't know if I'm necessarily like, I need to get my hands on it. If it was following these characters again, I probably would, because again, it was just so fun. Yeah, it's one that I'll probably ultimately forget about, but was still an enjoyable read nonetheless. So I'll forget the events, but I'll see it, and I'll be like, yeah, that was a good book. I'd recommend it to someone who's like trying to get into reading or like fantasy specifically. I think it was a great book, so slay, and I can't wait to read Most Ardently by this author as well. So I have nothing left to say about this book. It was good. That's essentially all I need to say. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'm sure you did not care. Oh, Oh, what? Oh, it's the light flashing off the microphone. I was really confused. I don't know why you would have watched it fully, but I'm not complaining, so. Yeah. I don't know what comes next for me. I keep making plans and they like fail. So it's like, oh, maybe I'll stop. For now, I'm happy with just talking about books, but I'd like to move further, but that's, yeah, we'll see. In the meantime, goodbye. Hope you stay around.